When I said someone's name, everything became better. All the voices disappeared, and the pain in my head was gone.
タクタク大丈夫
We got a name, but what's going on?
怪我は平気だね
She was right next to me, as if that was the most natural place in the world for her to be.
お前なんでここに
私はいつもタクの隣にいるよ
That was impossible. When my dad used his mind control on me, I'd killed her.
そうだ僕が
I remembered. Dad had used his mind control on me. In the theater cube at the Hikariwo. So this was all just...
僕のただの妄想か
Oh yeah, this is old Serica.
昔みたいだね
Serica laughed. I didn't know why.
でどう
何が
思考誘導どんな感じ
なかなかだよ結構きつい
It's been like months. At least it seems to be months. It's pretty rough.
そう結構居心地良さそうだけどお腹も空かないんでしょ
Serica looked around into the empty void. She was acting like she'd just come over to check out her friend's new house.
お前な一度こうなってみろよ体を動かせないのがどんなに辛いか
そりゃ私は耐えられそうにないけどタクはリハビリの時に経験済みじゃん
あの時は動かそうとするたびにちゃんと痛みが走った動いてなくても動かしてるっていう実感があったんだよ
そういうもの
Serica tilted her head at me.
これ向こうはどうなってる
向こう
現実だよつまりシアターキューブにいる僕だ思考誘導を受けて多分倒れてるだろう
I didn't even have the slightest idea how much time had passed. But it had to have been much longer than a day or two. The Restoration Festival was probably long since over, and I might have starved to death.
それはないんじゃないかなだってタクちゃんと話してるし生きてるってことでしょ
そうだけど
情報をまとめて理屈で考えろっていつも言ってるのはタクだよ
あ
こっちと向こうの時間が違うとか
That's right. That's possible.
ひなちゃんたちはどうしたの
ひなちゃん
Oh, right. Hinae Aramura. How had I forgotten about her?
新庄さんたちと一緒に渋谷を抜け出したと思う
タチって誰ウキちゃんとゆうとくんと
久野里さん
あれれはなちゃんは
あいつは事件と直接関係ないから渋谷に残ってると思う
I probably shouldn't be saying this.
そっか
And then Serica started asking me one question after another. Could I really not move? Was the light I sometimes saw a hallucination? Were the voices I heard imaginary? It took a long time answering each one in as much detail as possible. I had plenty of time after all, and just the act of having a conversation was wonderful. It was something I'd done all the time in my daily life and at the newspaper club. Come to think of it, who would first use the phrase, "You don't know what you've got till it's gone"? And when did they use it?
わかんないよポケコン持ってくればよかったかな
I laughed a little, though I wasn't sure if Serica was serious or joking. Each time I would answer one of her questions, Serica's expression would change. She'd laugh or get mad, and sometimes she'd even try to correct me. She really did seem like a normal person. But...
何
お前 昔は僕の妄想でどこにもいなかったんだな。
バレちゃったか。
She acted just like a kid who'd been caught while playing hide and seek.
他の人からはどう見えてたんだ？
If she wasn't real, I must have spent all my time as a kid talking to empty air.
どうって見たまんまだと思うけど。でもさ、私とタクが一緒にいるところなんてそんなに見られてないよ。タクの両親くらいじゃない？あと病院の地下でセンリちゃんにか。あれは失敗したな。そのせいで私のんちゃんにバレちゃったんだよね。
That's right. Sarika and I spent almost all of our time in my room. I'd never been to her house. No, according to Kunosato, her house didn't exist.
言ってくれればよかったのに。
そういうわけにはいかないよ。
She laughed, but she seemed a little bothered.
でも、あの時はどうだったんだ？渋谷地震。
I remembered carrying Sarika through the hell that was a post-earthquake Shibuya, but if she'd only just been born when I'd had that headache, when I was in the Yoyogi shelter, I hadn't been really carrying her on my back at all, which is why those kids judged us when we passed the adult. Only then did I remember why I was here. It wasn't to talk about old times. I could finally get the answer?
よくわかんないけど、でもちょっと変くらいにしか見えてなかったと思うよ。ほら、私は気を失ってたからあんまり話してないし。あんな状況じゃタクが独り言を言ってるとか歩いてる姿勢がおかしいとか別に誰も。タク？
え？
どうしたの？
いや。
If I could have moved my body, I would have been looking straight back into Sarika's eyes.
お前を生み出した時、僕はお前に何を望んだんだろ
う。Okay, here it comes.
それはね、わかんないよ。
She didn't seem surprised or upset at all.
だって今の私はタクの知ってることしか知らないもん。向こうの彼女しか知らないことだもん。
Ugh. Yeah, that's right. The Sarika in front of me might look alive, but she was really just a delusion of mine. So she wouldn't know anything that I didn't. I'd created her again to help me get through this torture. She was just... Oh. And when I realized it, I was disgusted with myself. I felt so pathetic that I wanted to cry. How could I be so shameless?
僕は向こうの尾上を殺したんだぞ。
Even if it was a trap created by Dad's mind control, I'd still killed her with my own hands. She'd almost killed me, and then I'd lost control and killed her instead. I'd torn open her stomach injury, then strangled her. Saying I'd been mind controlled was just an excuse. The rage and desire to kill her I'd felt had been real. Even without the mind control, if the same thing happened in reality, I'd do it again. I'd kill her.
だけど尾上は違った。
Even when the imaginary me tried to kill her, she'd chosen to die rather than resist, unlike me. But then I'd wished for her again, just like I'd done during the Shibuya earthquake. And I'd come to her for help again. I couldn't handle the darkness on my own, so I'd created her. I could not imagine a worse person than myself.
別に気にすることないよ。私、ここにいられて楽しいもん。
Enough. Stop it.
タクが呼んでくれなかったら話すこともできなかったし。
Don't tell me exactly what I want to hear. Come to think of it, Sarika had always been like that, ever since I was little. Even when I was neglected, she was always jealous of me. She always made me think that I was better off than she was. Whenever I wanted to show off some new piece of information I'd learned, she'd always act interested. She'd pretended to be a stupid girl so that I'd always get to think of myself as a right-sider.
ごめん。ごめんな。本当に。ごめん。
And maybe that's even why she can read minds, so she could read mine to conform to it.
タク。
Sarika looked hurt when she saw me apologize. Why don't you understand? You don't have to apologize. This is what makes me happy, she seemed to say. But she only looked that way because I wanted her to. My ego and desire had created the role of a kind-hearted young girl that she was forever forced to play. The two of us were like that for a little while. I kept apologizing, and Sarika seemed to not want to hear it. Eventually, she spoke to me like a mother scolding her child.
タクはね、それでも私を許しちゃいけないんだよ。
え？
私、のんちゃんを殺しちゃったんだから。そうでしょ？
でも、その理由が僕のせいかもしれないんだ。
No, it wasn't a maybe. There had to be something connected with me.
けど、私は死んじゃったから、聞くことはできないでしょ？
Sarika was right. No, I was forcing her to be right.
じゃあさ。
Of course I knew what she would say next. Sarika's voice became a light, the one thing that lit up my path in this dark world.
タクは、どうしたいの？
Suddenly, I saw a scene I remembered well. Until a moment ago, the blackness had kept me from remembering, no matter how hard I tried to imagine them. But now I could see my family. They must have been getting ready for dinner. I smelled something good. I looked in the kitchen and saw a lineup of dishes fit for a nursing home. Yui, Uki, if you take cooking lessons from Nono, they're going to start calling you Mom and Granny at school. Yuto was in the corner sulking because Yui had made fun of him. Yui was looking at him and laughing. Uki didn't know what to do. Nono gave Yui a brief scolding, but she was smiling while she did it. It was the same thing I'd seen a million times before. Nothing was different. Everyone was in the club room going over the case. We seemed to be talking about Shibuya news. Kunosada had updated some information. Kazuki was playing her game. Ito went to stop her, but froze when she offered him a piece of dried squid. Aramura told a stupid joke, and Ito blushed and started to shake his head frantically. There was still no expression on Kazuki's face. This was another scene I knew well. But this world was never coming back. My dad had destroyed it.
それで、いいの？
Of course not. I love my family, I love my friends. Those places were the most precious things I had. He'd ruined them all, and when I'd asked him why, the only reason he could give me was that it was fun. I couldn't let him get away with that. No matter what I did, Yui and Nono weren't coming back. The life I'd had with my friends was gone. My feelings began to break free from the darkness and come to life again. Blood flowed through my body once more, and my senses started to return to me. That's right.
敵を取らなきゃダメだ。
Even if that meant breaking my promise to Nono. I didn't care what my dad was trying to accomplish with this experiment, or what was happening to me. He wanted something from me? What was it? I didn't even want to know.
それを知ろうとしなくて、いいの？
いい。
I didn't care. I refused to go crazy like he wanted.
なんか、タクらしくないね。
うるさいな。
でも、感情だけで頑張っちゃうタクも、ちょっと見てみたいな。
I smiled back at her, and then I focused all my neurons on creating a delusion. Where had I been? Who was I so angry at, and where were they standing? If I was in a prison of delusions created by that machine, then I'd have to come up with a delusion that was even more powerful. And then I'd pull him into my own delusion. The way I remembered it, it was like this.
もうちょっと明るくなかった？天井から照明当たってるんでしょ？
Were they?
うん、多分これくらい。あと、もうちょっと近かった。
Closer, huh? How about this?
オッケー。さすが、カメラいじってるだけあるね。
Sarika walked around the stage checking to see if there was anything I'd missed. She must have been satisfied because she nodded several times.
タクの立ち位置もオッケー？
意識が飛んだ時のままならな。
違ってたらどうするの？
その時はその時だ。確実な方法なんてありっこないんだからな。
Sarika pretended to be impressed with what I had said. I laughed at myself too. Was I really the type of person who was brave enough to do something like this? I used to think that risky decisions weren't courageous but stupid. I used to think that courage was just a word people use to hide their stupidity.
あ、そうだ、タク？
ん？
私の仇は取っちゃダメだよ。のんちゃんたちの仇は取らなきゃダメ。でも私の仇はダメ。当たり前でしょ？
それは。
いいから、とにかくその瞬間タクが思っていいのはのんちゃんたちだけね。
I'm sorry. And thanks. Those are the only words I could come up with. I didn't know what else I could say.
ほらタク、ちゃんとしてよ。じゃないと私が来た意味なくなっちゃうじゃん。
Serica pouted a little. It was the same thing she used to do in the newspaper club. I tried to stop my tears from welling up again.
ちゃんとしてるよ。この僕がちゃんとしてなかったことなんてあるか？
あの時とあの時、それから
指を折って数えるな。
She laughed, and then she looked right in my eyes.
多分向こうへ戻った瞬間、その一瞬にしかあいつの隙はないよ。だからチャンスは
一度あれば十分だ。
That's right. I would only have a few seconds in the world of my delusion. And a few seconds when I got back to reality. I'd probably have less than 5 seconds in total. If he'd been researching psychics for as long as he said, he'd notice what I'd done immediately. So I'd only get one shot. If it didn't work, he'd kill me this time. Serica looked relieved when she saw my resolve. And then she smiled and started to fade away as if her job was done. At the same time, I felt a stabbing pain in my head. It was the pain from when the D-Sword appeared. Here it comes!
無謀なことにかける覚悟はオッケー？
オッケー。
賭け金が自分の命だっていう現実はオッケー？
オッケー。
バカな決断に言い訳をしない意志はオッケー？
オッケー。
じゃあ行って舞台に上がってタク！
I slammed my own delusion down on top of the one that held me. It was like splattering bright paint on a black canvas. In a single instant, a perfect replica of the theater appeared. Yes, it was working. Dad was in front of me. He looked surprised. I could tell from the shock on his face that he hadn't yet realized that this was a world of delusion, sitting atop another delusion, and that I dragged him inside. The machine on his back started to creak and moan. Its shape was becoming warped and distorted, as if it was being crushed by an invisible giant. I screamed louder as I tried to use my power to destroy it. Dad stepped back as if to protect it, the look on his face making it clear that he still couldn't believe what was happening. But it was too late. Crush it. Crush. I hit him with a stronger delusion. The outer frame couldn't take the stress and the machine started to break. Dad panicked and raised his D-Sword to use his mind control on me again. A red light flashed in front of me, but it wasn't the mind control again, it was the opposite. This was the key for the plan that the other Serica and I had come up with. Dad, Sakuma, had made a mistake. He thought that I'd escaped from his mind control on my own. He thought that I'd escaped from that delusion and made it back to reality. So he did just what we hoped he would, and ended the mind control that was on me now, even though I was still inside that dark prison. If Dad had stayed calm, he would have noticed his mistake immediately. But it was all so sudden that he'd panicked and made the wrong decision. The black torture chamber was gone, and in that instant, I canceled my own delusion. The bonds that had tied me in place were gone. My senses came back and told me that this was reality. The pain of my injury, the smell of blood, the taste of blood, the feeling of the D-sword in my hand, Dad howling as he stood there with his fake sword raised high. But just getting back to reality wasn't good enough. I only had a few seconds, probably. I needed to destroy the real device before he figured out the trick. Run. I forced my aching body to move and ran at full speed towards my foe. I lowered my body as I ran and held the D-sword ready. A new attempt at mind control came at me. I could feel it trying to scramble my brain, but I wasn't stopping. I couldn't stop. I bit down hard on my lip and used the pain to check my 5 senses. You're still okay. Don't stop. Run. Keep running. I swung the D-sword down at my father. Dad tried to dodge it, but that was just what I wanted. He ducked low, and I could clearly see the device on his back. I slammed the D-sword down into it hard before he could move. If this works, then his own sword is going to disappear. Panting, I pulled the D-sword out of the device. Parts flew everywhere. The strange light it had been giving off disappeared, and the artificial D-sword he was holding lost its shine. Okay, so it is a sword, but still. The pain created by his mind control attempts vanished like it was never there. As soon as I saw that the device was destroyed, I fell to my knees. I'd used my power while running at full speed, and it hurt to breathe. I was dizzy from lack of oxygen. Dad's mood suddenly began to change. He seemed to realize what I'd just done. The smile on his face vanished, and instead of anger, there was no expression at all. I'd never heard him use a tone like that before.
タグルなんだよ。
なんで壊れてねえんだ。なんで生きてる。いや、なんで精神を保ってる。てめえがあれに耐えられるわけねえんだ。俺は確かに30日間お前をしくじったのか。いや、あの男にできて俺にできないなんてことは。
I used the D-sword as support to help me to my feet. It was fine. I could move. I could move just the way I wanted to. I was sure of it. I made it back to reality.
おい、答えろ！お前なんで動けるんだよ！
I readied the D-sword again without saying a word. There was still no expression on Dad's face.
そうか。こいつか。そういうことか。
I looked down. Serica was lying there looking like she was asleep even though she was dead. Dad's anger vanished, and instead he started to speak like a scientist observing a guinea pig. That was even creepier somehow.
イマジナリーフレンドだけで乗り切ったってのか。殺した相手にすがりつくとは思わなかった。たく、面白くねえことしやがって。
Dad raised the now dull D-sword and came towards me. Yeah, too bad he still has a weapon. It was no longer an artificial D-sword, but it was still a giant metal blade. Even without his powers, it was more than capable of killing me. I stepped away from him, my own weapon at the ready. It felt like if I looked away from him, I'd be killed.
狂えって俺は言ったよな。なあ
The iron blade suddenly came down. There was an impact on my face. I felt some of my back teeth break and blood spurted from my mouth. I'd been knocked onto the floor. I swung the D-sword in my hand frantically. For a moment I experienced the pain and light that were caused by mind control. Was that thing still working? It wasn't broken? It had to be. I dropped the D-sword in despair. It vanished. But the mind control never came. My attack a moment ago had damaged it.
マジで壊れてるじゃねえか。このクソガキ
Sakuma's iron sword struck me on the left leg. An indescribably awful pain ran out my spine and smashed into my brain.
んなことなら最初から拷問室にでも思考誘導しとくべきだったな。なんなら今やってやろうか。リアルで。よー
It hurt. The pain was unbearable. Was this plan stupid after all? Was there no way to win?
ほらよ ダメだな。痛覚からの発狂じゃ何にも新しいもんは得られねえか。
What happened to my leg, my body? Were they still there? I couldn't move, just like in that black prison.
なら、あいつらをお前の目の前で殺してみるか。
Huh? I could hear those words clearly even as my whole body screamed from pain.
多分まだ渋谷を出てねえだろ
The instant I understood what he meant, I forgot the pain coursing through my body.
おお、それでいいんだよ。お前にとってそれが大事なものであればあるほど効果は高えからな。
He kicked me and I rolled along the ground. Then he started to walk away. My throat hurt as I screamed. It was frustrating how I couldn't even speak. He was leaving. He was going somewhere. Where? Where else? To where they were. He was going after the people I loved. I tried to stand up, but the leg he'd struck wouldn't move and I fell to the ground. I hit my face on the floor. My left leg wouldn't move. Was it broken? It was the one place I didn't feel any pain. My body wouldn't move. Why? I'd finally made it out of that darkness, right? I couldn't just let him go. Move. I don't care what moves. Move. Move! He was going to kill them right in front of me? Kill Arimura? Kill Uki? Kill Yuto? Kill Kunosato? I wouldn't let him. I wouldn't let him do it. As my vision blurred from the pain, I saw Serika's body lying on the ground.
のんちゃんたちの仇は取らなきゃダメ。でも私の仇はダメ。当たり前でしょ。
絶対にさせるか
I howled. Ooh, the epic music. And my D-sword appeared as if in answer. And then... it sliced through the air toward my dad as he walked away.
何
Oh my god! My dad turned around at the noise just in time for the D-sword to impale his throat. You know something? I thought it was gonna be the lollipop, but we still threw something at his throat. And then he slowly fell backward to the floor. I somehow managed to endure the pain that was coursing through my body and stand up. There was blood everywhere on the stage. I avoided it, dragging my unmoving left leg as I walked towards the body that used to be my dad. The D-sword was still shining as it stuck out of his throat. I made it disappear. When I saw what was left, I didn't feel a sense of accomplishment or anything else, just an urge to vomit. He was lying on the ground. I'd killed him. I'd killed my dad. How could this have happened? Taking revenge for Nono and Yui didn't make me feel any better at all. I didn't feel happy at all. I realized I was crying. I didn't know how long I'd been crying, but my tears were red. Everything around me felt like a lie. I was having trouble standing up, and not just because of my injury. This was how it felt to cross a line that you should never cross. I tried to smile and forget my tears. What was I doing? Was this how it felt to break my promise to Nono? Oh, right. Sarika. I remembered the real reason I'd come here. There was something I wanted to ask her. I looked away from Dad and walked over to Sarika, dragging my leg behind me.
そうか。それも、もう叶わないのか。
I looked down at Sarika and reached out my hand. I wanted to at least fix up her clothes where they'd been messed up. What? She was alive? There was a loud, heavy noise and an impact. Around my stomach. What was that? I looked down at my body, trying to find the source of the sound and the noise. And there was a D-sword sticking out of my stomach. It was... What? The same one that had taken Nono's life on the roof of Hekiho Academy. Huh? Is that the end? What? That wasn't the end? Oh my god. Wow. Alright, well, this was a long one. For now, it is time to stop the installment. Well, we certainly made a lot of progress today. We made it to the showdown. We fought Sarika, except not really, except yes really. Then we fought Sakuma and went into a freaking existential torture for a long time. Then we broke out of it. Then we got our ass kicked. Then we finally killed Sakuma. But then Sarika killed us? I mean, I know Sakuma said that she was dead. Maybe she wasn't. We never did get a good look at her body from the real body. But she killed us? Maybe? But now we're changing perspective? This is nuts. This was a long one, and this is nuts. Until next time, everyone.